Good day and welcome to the Benefits Trust webinar. This is a little bit of a deeper dive into the Benefits Trust and ASO. So we'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of all of us here at the Benefits Trust to welcome you and thank you for spending a few moments with us. Just a quick face behind the voice, if you would. My name is Robert Crowder. I'm the president of the Benefits Trust. Benefits Trust was established on January 1st, 1994, so just over 22 years ago. We work exclusively with brokers like yourself, and we appreciate the time that you've taken with us. One of my co-presenters who's with us today is Karen Taylor-Smith. Her picture's in the middle.
Hi, everybody.
And Mike Ignatz, many of you might know as well, and he's on the right-hand side, but just Karen and I are going to be presenting this afternoon. What we want to talk about today, again, as I like to call this, Benefits Trust 201, or a little bit of a deeper dive into benefits and specifically ASO plans. We want to talk about, we want you to have a better understanding of what ASO plans are. We want to give you some concrete plus custom plan design ideas. We want to talk about some client retention strategy and some simple renewal strategy. So that's what we're going to cover in the next few minutes. So let's get started. First of all, what is an ASO plan? People might think it's just an administration services only plan, but what does it really mean? Well, it's a funding arrangement where the plan sponsor is financially responsible for 100% of the costs of all health, dental, and short-term disability claims, administration, and taxes in a given benefit year. It's quite simply, you kill what you eat, and you're responsible for that. So it's just that an ASO plan is nothing more than a funding arrangement that an employer has as part of their employee benefit program. So when does the plan sponsor play? Not play, pay. In a pure ASO type of an arrangement, deposits are made as required by the administrator. There's regular reporting that goes on. There's ongoing funds on hand to pay claims, and often the administrator or the service provider will often have access to a bank account that a client owns so they can withdraw money as they need it. That's more or less a pure ASO type of plan. The client or consultant must complete a funding analysis, and it's really unpredictable monthly cash flow requirements because really the client's just making a deposit and saying, hey, we want to have enough money there to fund the claims. If there isn't enough money there to fund the claims stop. And that's really a pure ASO type of an arrangement. A budgeted ASO arrangement is where a monthly deposit is paid to an administrator. There are phantom unit rates, and they're set annually, generally annually in advance. So they're using single family health and dental rates. There's a monthly financial reporting process that goes on with the broker and the client, and there's surpluses and deficit arrangements may be made available as well. So the client pays the same amount every month based on a predetermined set of rates, and again, that surplus and deficit arrangement is made available. Claims analysis is completed monthly by the administrator and passed on to both the advisor and also to the end user client. And this is the advantage of budgeted ASO is really that predictable monthly cash flow requirement. The advantage and the disadvantage of an ASO type of an arrangement, again, that self-funding arrangement, it's interesting, the advantage and the disadvantage are the same. The plan sponsor pays for their plan's claims and expenses, period. The plan sponsor is 100% responsible. This can work to their advantage, and this can also work to their disadvantage. Without a doubt, short-term, if a client has a short-term benefit plan outlook, fully insured funding is certainly an option that they need to look at. And when I'm talking short-term, I'm talking a year or two. And when we're looking in this at funding, and we're looking at what is the best solution, that short-term outlook, that fully insured funding, you're always going to find an insurer, especially in the smaller case market, which is really what we're talking about here. The smaller case market, there's always an insurance company that's prepared to offer marketing discounts and buy that business. That is short-lived. So if the client has that short-term funding, they should be definitely looking at a fully insured type of an arrangement. If a client has a long-term benefit outlook, they're looking more than just a year or two down the road. They're looking at a benefit plan as a tool in their organization, and they're looking to keep it into perpetuity. Really, the client wants to look at an ASO funding arrangement because ASO is going to be the most cost-effective for them in the long run. So when you're looking at long-term, you want to look at ASO type of funding. Fact of the matter is the house always wins. It wins 80% of the time. The insurance companies are going to win 4 out of 5 years, especially on smaller cases compared to a budgeted ASO arrangement. So the question is really, who do you want to be the house? Some clients want to be the house. Terrific. An ASO arrangement is appropriate for them. If they don't want to be the house, a fully insured arrangement is obviously the best solution. So when we talk about ASO plan design ideas, really an employee benefit plan is nothing more than a promise between an employer and a group of employees. And that's a very powerful word, promise. The light really goes off in a successful entrepreneur's head. It's amazing. The business owner all of a sudden saying, promise, geez, I can promise anything I want to anybody. I'm in control of what it is that I promise. So what makes sense in our organization? So an employee benefit plan is really nothing more than a promise between an employer and a group of employees. And when we look at today's environment, especially where there's more and more small businesses in the 416-905 area code, not long distance from the Benefits Trust head office, there's 50,000 employers with less than 101 employees. It's amazing. And this is what a typical company looks like today. Environments have changed. The business environment has changed. Employers have changed. This could be a very successful, profitable company. Young, dynamic CEO at the top of the slide here. You've got the sales organization down on the right-hand side. They're young, they're motivated, they might have young families. You've got the operations department or the folks that are executing the work down in the bottom middle section. You've got the R&D department, and they're all weird and wonderful in their own way. And then you've got the marketing department over to the left-hand side. There are many different groups within this particular group. One benefit plan design may not be appropriate for that entire group. Each group has different needs. So I think a great question is, what do you want to promise each group within that group? And you've got to really distinguish between the different groups within that group. And really, this is, the foundation for a customized employee benefit program. It's understanding what the group is and understanding what are the different groups within the group, because regardless whether the employer has 5 employees, 15 employees, 25 employees, or 500 employees, there are different groups within that group. There's no way that the president of the Royal Bank has the same benefits as the customer service rep that just got hired. So it's really important to identify what are the groups within each group, and this is really the foundation of that customized employee benefit program. Regardless of the type of employee benefit program that you've got, generally speaking, there are 3 components that make up that program. There's an insurance element, a reimbursement element, and an administration element. Insurance is there to protect the integrity of the promise so it continues into perpetuity. Insurance is to protect the integrity of the promise from those catastrophic, sudden, unexpected events. Second component is one of reimbursement. Reimbursement is those routine expenses like a routine trip to the dentist, a prescription medication, maybe a short-term disability. Administration is keeping the promise on side from an employer standpoint and a Revenue Canada standpoint. So often an employee benefit promise to those different groups within the group will consist of these 3 different components. And the employee benefit plan promise is, I think, a great question to ask as well is, what is your client's compensation philosophy? That's going to help design or create that custom plan for each of those groups. And as a matter of fact, the philosophy may be different for each of those particular groups. So the benefit plan must reflect that difference. It's also important to note, and a lot of people don't realize this, that group can have only one member. So you might have a group like, for example, that research and development group. There may only be one person in that group, but they've got a unique skill set that requires a certain type of compensation. And that compensation can include either a very attractive or very restrictive benefit plan, depending on the circumstances. But the group can have one employee. So you can have a group of 5 employees that might have 3 different groups within it. You might have an executive group, you might have a management group, and you might have an employee group, and there may be 1 executive and 1 management person and 3 people in that employee group. So it's important to note that a group can have just 1 member in it. So budgeted ASO plan with a TPA is really the winning combination for true customization. So let's look at 3 examples.
In our first example, case study number 1, this is a service and education focused organization. They've got about 70 lives. And when we first started talking with their advisor, they had a conventional plan design. They received a annual renewal increase directly from the insurer. And based on their claim patterns and the demographics of the group, it really was a justified financial position from the insurer. There was nothing really offside in this renewal. But this organization has quite a unique business environment. Their compensation philosophy and their culture and organizational principles are founded in very strong empowerment philosophy. They have 6 weeks vacation for all employees when they complete their probationary period. And this is just evidentiary of the particular culture within the organization. And what they found as this organization was growing, that a traditional plan with increasing annual costs, it just didn't fit within their corporate culture. It really was not the appropriate solution. And so their old broker, who really was substantially unknown, had not really been in the picture and was not really consulting with this client. So they went through essentially a beauty pageant of new brokers. They had a number of interviews. And one of the new brokers came through with a solution that was specifically designed to take into consideration the culture and the philosophy of this organization. So they structured the core of the plan with pooled benefits that included mandatory participation, as you would expect for these benefits in a group of this size. And that core pooled benefit plan included life, AD&D, long-term disability, critical illness, out-of-country emergency medical, stop-loss or large amount pooling, and a group RRSP. Then the employer committed $2,000 in budget per employee per year. And the employee can choose annually between contributing that $2,000 into their healthcare spending account, into their group RRSP, or splitting between both, depending on their own family needs and their decision in that year. And this was an annual election of option that was proposed for this group. The result at the end of the day was a happy client and happy employees. The client was really content because the pooled components of the plan, that's where you'll find low inflation. So they were in control of future cost changes. That meant they were getting no renewal surprises because they had committed this $2,000 number to either healthcare spending account or group RRSP expenses. And over time, since inception, the employer was able to increase that healthcare spending account option or the funding available up to $2,500. The broker who presented this solution got a new client because their solution was custom designed for the client and was strategically fit their compensation philosophy. So that was a great success. We were really happy to be able to support the broker in that solution. Let's look at case study number 2. This is a neighborhood pharmacy. It's a small organization. They have 5 full-time employees, and it's owned by the pharmacist, which is quite typical within this industry environment. The plan that was initially in place was a conventional small group plan with 80% reimbursement. And their broker routinely shopped for cheaper solutions every 18 months to 2 years. They took it to market, took it to market, took it to market. This particular pharmacy is located outside the GTA. The problem with their conventional 80% reimbursement plan that was being shopped repeatedly is that the pharmacy has an internal drug program, meaning that they have opportunities for their employees on a wholesale basis to make purchases. So their plan had virtually no healthcare usage. As we know, conventionally, we're looking at probably 70% of healthcare costs or prescription drug costs, and that usage simply wasn't there within this plan. But this is a small group, so their plan rates are tied to small group program manual rates on a conventional small group product basis. So the owner, the pharmacist, is really frustrated with overpaying for no value. He just did not perceive any value based on the price that he was paying. And the broker's solution to that was really, well, let me shop the market again. Well, this had been done several times in recent years, and really the owner was finding no value in this answer, let alone in this benefits plan solution that was in effect. So a new broker came in, and just at the peak of that client's frustration, came in and proposed a significant restructure to that plan, which was 100% reimbursement for medical expenses with no drug benefit. Not the easiest thing to do necessarily, so you're looking very much at an ASO solution here rather than an off-the-shelf plan. 80% basic dental, and they were able to introduce 50% major restorative and orthodontia to the plan because this drug component had been carved out that they didn't need. A $25,000 critical illness benefit was also added into the plan. And most importantly, 100% executive unlimited plan design was added for the pharmacist owner, 100% reimbursement for all items, again, other than prescription drugs, with no maximums, no co-insurances. So adding important coverage for paramedical services, necessary medical appliances, 100% dental expenses to make sure that for that pharmacist owner, those expenses are being paid on a tax advantage basis. All those types of expenses, vision care, laser eye surgery, all of these expenses that the owner is going to pay for anyway for his family, but making sure that that cost is flowing through the business on a tax advantage basis. So what's the result? At the end of the day, this pharmacist owner felt that they were getting much greater value for their benefit dollars. The pharmacist herself is happy with the tax-effective dental and vision and additional benefits for herself. The employees were very happy with the addition of the major dental and the critical illness coverage. And the broker who brought this customized solution to the table, it's a win for that advisor. They have a new client. Moving on to case study number 3. This is a small business, about 15 lives in HVAC, renovating and contracting. This is a stable business environment. They've had positive growth, a lot of demand for their services. And within this environment, these are highly trained and skilled staff. There are very high levels of certification within that industry. And they're well paid, given that they have the skill set, the certifications, they've all gone through. And as a result, they're highly paid and skilled staff. Again, this was a small group that had grown a little bit. They'd started out and kept this conventional 80% plan design. They had pretty regular premium increases, what we would expect to see on this conventional plan. And it was generally speaking shopped every 3 years. So it was being tested against the marketplace. It was very vanilla, average plan. What's the problem? Well, the owner of the business, who's an active owner in the business, he's out on the job site every day, again was frustrated with the overall value of the benefits plan. And how often do we hear this? The employees all the time were asking for more because, they're highly paid, they're looking for high compensation, they're looking for more on the benefits plan, and it means then the owner's writing a bigger check. And the other piece of feedback that they were getting is there was really no plan flexibility. There was no opportunities for change within this. And their broker is saying, look, I've tested the marketplace. It's gone out to market every 3 years. You have the best price. But at the end of the day, price was not the biggest issue that the owner had. Value was the biggest issue that he had. And value was lacking in the plan design that they had at the time. So again, at the peak of frustration for this particular client, another broker came in with a different solution that solved the problem. They kept the conventional pooled benefits under the plan, the life, AD&D, and long-term disability. And then they restructured the health and the dental component. They kept in a core 80% drug plan and 50% basic dental plan. And what that does is it solidifies that core part of the plan. It keeps in the all-important drug card for the employees, but it frees up dollars out of the benefits plan from the paramedicals, from the medical appliances, from different aspects. And it allows you to, first of all, coordinate benefits. A lot of these employees had spouses with benefits plans. So on that 20% copay on the drug plan and 50% copay on the dental, there's an opportunity for employees to coordinate with their spouses' plans. And then they added into the plan healthcare spending accounts, which are graduated based on length of service in the organization, because this is something key for that business owner. Once he's put training and invested in these guys and helped them in a lot of cases with some of their ongoing certification costs. He really wants to retain these guys in the organization. So their healthcare spending accounts increase with their longevity in the organization, starting at a $1,500 healthcare spending account and increasing through several levels up to $4,500. It's important to remember that healthcare spending accounts for coordination of benefits guidelines pay last. So we're maximizing the value of both the core benefits, the coordination of benefits, and the healthcare spending accounts, all the different benefit options available. And let's point out again, for the owner and one key manager in the organization, we put in a 100% plan for that owner and key manager, an executive plan with no limits. So it's a complete restructure of the plan. And what's the result at the end of the day? The client is happy with the plan design because suddenly the value to the plan has gone up drastically. He's happy with the tax effective benefits for himself, but the feedback that he's getting from these skilled and necessary contributors to the work of the organization is they have this much improved flexibility. Still got that important drug card, but at the end of the day, the healthcare spending account is allowing them to make choices about how they're spending their benefit dollars, because we had younger guys within the organization, older guys and girls within the organization where their family needs are different. And this flexibility from the healthcare spending account is allowing them to address those different needs. And, that funding of the plan with the graduated increase on the healthcare spending account is reflecting the, growth and investment in the business. And once again, at the end of the day, this broker who was able to provide this custom solution, this broker won the business and has a new client with this plan design. So when you customize a plan design, as we've talked about these three examples, the feedback that we get from advisors is, where do you even start? How do I start to define a custom plan? Well, we would say first, define the groups within the group. Second, talk to the client about defining their compensation philosophy for each group, because as Rob pointed out, it's not necessarily going to be the same for the CEO or the business owner and that new CSR who's been there for 6 months. And then use that information about the groups and the compensation philosophy to design the plan, design the promise accordingly for each group within the group.
Thank you, Karen. Let's talk about some client retention strategies. I think the most important thing is to help your clients focus on what matters. And what matters in a business environment reminds me very quickly of, I just want to share a story with you, the very first exam that I wrote in university, and that was a macroeconomics exam at McMaster University many years ago. The very first exam, the very first question, they said, what's the purpose of a business? And the correct answer, which I didn't get at the time, but the correct answer was to maximize the value to its shareholders. So what's important in business, and to help people focus on business, there's one thing that's important, is profit. Yes, the people inside of it are critical to that profit because they help create that profit. But profit is the most important thing, and you have to help your clients keep focused on that profit. And how do you do that over the long run? Well, when we're talking about benefit plans are the best long-term solution. And especially ASO benefit plans are the best long-term solution. They really complete that piece of the puzzle so they can focus on profit and building their business in the long term and into perpetuity. As Karen was talking about plan design, having the correct plan design, or having the correct promise between an employer and a group of employees, is the first step, the first piece of the puzzle. It is the most critical. You've got to have that correct plan design, number one. Number two, having the appropriate expense levels based on that plan design. The cost of a benefit plan is made up of insurance, it's made up of your claims, and it's made up of your expenses. It's as simple as that. The cost of the insurance is the cost of the insurance. The cost of the claims, if it's the right and appropriate plan design, is the cost of the claims, and it's the cost of the administration. Having the appropriate plan expense levels, eliminating surprises, is critical, another critical piece of the puzzle as well. The third one is that monthly financial reporting. As we discussed, clients don't like surprises. Entrepreneurial clients do not like surprises. Monthly financial reporting to eliminate surprises is critical as well. All of these three things combined with a strong advisor relationship where you're working with them. A benefit plan is not something that is sold. A benefit plan is something that is provided to and worked on, and it's always changing because it's a living, moving, breathing thing. A strong advisor relationship that you would provide to that end user client on that budgeted ASO arrangement is critical in providing that fourth piece of the puzzle that keeps the client focused on that profit. ASO plans are the best long-term benefit solution. Our system is very simple. It's very straightforward. Client makes a monthly contribution to the benefits trust. The benefits trust then, based on that monthly contribution, does three things with it. That monthly contribution comes in based on a billing statement that we provide to the client. We're going to take their money in the trust, and then we are going to send it out in three different ways. Number one, we are going to purchase insurance, which includes life insurance, AD&D, long-term disability, critical illness, out-of-country emergency travel coverage, wellness programs, etc. We're going to purchase insurance and services based on the promise that the employer is making to the group of employees. We're going to buy that insurance, and we're going to take that big check in, and we're going to send a bunch of little checks out to various insurance suppliers. It might be one insurance supplier. It might be multiple insurance suppliers. The second component, the second thing we're going to do with the money is we are going to adjudicate and pay the claims based on the promise that the employer is making to the employee with respect to their health, dental, and short-term disability benefits. That promise is going to be adjudicated either on an electronic basis or a paper basis, but regardless of how the client and member interfaces with us, we will interface back appropriately with them. And the third component, what we are going to do with that money is we are going to pay ourselves, obviously, and more importantly, we're going to pay you as the producer the appropriate compensation levels that are predetermined. So the client knows that the money that comes in goes out in three different areas because it's a budgeted approach. They're paying the same amount monthly unless their population changes, but they're paying that same amount monthly. And at the end of the day, the end user client, and you, the producer, are going to receive a monthly financial statement that also has a year-to-date component built into it as well. So it's interesting when you look at a business has a whole pile of different bells and whistles and dials and so on that the CEO or the president or the owner is looking at on a regular basis. This is that new Dreamliner product that Boeing has put out, and I think this is a Lufthansa pilot, and he's flying it in the inaugural flight from Germany to San Francisco. And it's amazing, all of the dials and bells and whistles and electronics in it. And it's interesting, benefit plans are just a really small part of an employee's ongoing business operation. So when we look at that model of money coming in, money going out, the client wants to know where they're at, and they want to look at it real quick, and they want to have a snapshot at a point in time, and then they want to either deal with it or move on. Just like this pilot. He's got a lot of things to look at, just like anybody's business. They've got a lot of things to look at. They want to take a snapshot at a point in time real quick. Hey, are we on budget? Are we off budget? We focus down. Here's our financial statement that's sent out on a monthly basis. The client receives this, and you as the advisor, you receive it as well. First column is month actual. Second column is year to date. And the third column is previous year to date. So you can see where you are in relation to your budget. You're either in a surplus or deficit position on a monthly basis, on a year to date cumulative basis, and after 12 months, a historical year-to-date cumulative basis. The end of the 12-month period, the client is paid every single month the same amounts, unless population has changed. There's either going to be surplus in their account or there's going to be a deficit in their account, and that's taken into consideration in their renewal. So as I like to say, it just keeps the client on task with what it is they're doing and focused on their profit. So how do we make renewals easy? It's quite simple. It's much like writing an essay. When we were all in school at some point in our lives, we had to write essays. And whether you're in grade 6 or whether you're in second year university, it doesn't really matter. The format is the same. You got to tell the person what you're going to write about. You got to write about it. And then you got to tell them what you wrote about. It's as simple as that. A benefit plan is no different, especially after it's designed and designed correctly and you've got all those components in place. We're talking about the renewal and the ongoing renewal. You got to tell the client what's going to happen in the next 12 months, monitor and report back as it's happening, and then just tell them what's happened. It's as simple as that. It's reading the news. It's telling them what's going to happen in the next 12 months and giving them those monthly financial statements and providing potentially some feedback on those monthly financial statements as things happen, and then summarizing that at the end of the year. Renewals are very simple. Every client, regardless of their size, whether, as Karen was mentioning, that 5-person pharmacy or that 70-person educational fund or that 15-person HVAC company, they all have a budget process. That budget process may be very formal or may be very informal. Regardless, work with your clients proactively, understand their budget process, and be a part of it. Talk about benefits and talk about how benefits are going to change, and talk about how more specifically, their customized benefit plan is appropriate for them and how it's going to change over time, and to have an appropriate part in that budget process. So when we like to talk about clients or talk to advisors that talk to clients about being a part of their business, be a part of their budget process, and that's really being a part of their business. To make renewals easy, the easiest way to do that is, again, take an active role in their business, take an active role in their budgeting, as well as that, communicate to them on a regular basis, and that eliminates all surprises. The monthly financial statements give you that head start. It gives you that opportunity to re-engage with the client on a routine basis, so they are buying value, they're understanding what they're buying, and there aren't any of those financial surprises. As I like to say, you want clients to look like this. They want to be cool, collected, a motivated team with them, and they're looking into the future, and their futures are going to be bigger than their pasts. So when we put all the pieces together, a customized plan design for all the groups within the group, an ASO funding basis on the promise, and a simplified renewal with no financial surprises. It really is a triple threat here, if you would. It's a win-win-win situation for all parties involved. The key thing is having the client understand what their customized plan design is according to the groups within the group. And again, that great example that Karen shared with us on that 5-person group, they might have 2 or 3 different plan design levels within that very small group. That's a customized plan design. They're buying value, and value lasts long into the future. The result is the client has the ownership of their customized plan. The value of their plan is clear. The value proposition is certainly clear. You save time and money with simplified renewals, and there's no more repeat shopping of the plans and defending your position because the client has invited other people in to shop their plan. They know they have the right plan. They know they have the right plan, and it's costed appropriately, and you've got all those pieces of the puzzle in place. The competition the client is not answering the competition's calls, that's for sure. So we've talked about a better understanding of ASO plans. We've talked about customized plan design ideas. We've talked about some client retention strategies and some simple renewal strategies. Really, the combination of all of these is the winning combination that good clients that are looking for value in the long run, they should be looking at a budgeted ASO plan with a customized plan design. So we encourage you to visit www.thebenefitstrust.com. We've got a ton of advisor tools on there, and we've got a new one that's pretty exciting, Karen.
We just recently launched our 101 sales questions, which is available for download from the website. And this was compiled with contributions from advisors across the country who were kind enough to share their sales questions with us. And it's been compiled into several categories, so different stages you might be at with prospects or clients in either just starting to engage with a new prospect or working with a longer term client to evaluate and restructure their benefits plan. These 101 sales questions we think are a fantastic tool, and we hope that you'll find them of value. Also available on our website is our ebook about healthcare spending accounts, which is one benefits plan option that we do work with a number of clients and advisors on. So both of these items you can download, as well as we have a lot of other learning tools, discussion pieces, leave behinds, door openers. We really encourage you to check out the materials, and we hope that along with the webinars that we host on a regular basis live, as well as a couple of these recorded sessions we have available, that these will be great tools for all of our advisors.
Again, this has been a very short overview, and we thank you very much for your time. Please feel free to reach out to Karen, Mike Ignatz, or myself at any time, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And again, this is just a very quick summary of a little bit more in-depth approach to, or our approach to customized ASO benefit plans. Thank you for your time, and we wish you best selling in the future, and we look forward to speaking with you shortly.